17 Season 1 Grand Finals. Effort taking that tough first loss, but bouncing back, breaking through. Free's wall, Free with a zealot control mistake cost him game 2, so now we are tied up. Winner will go to match point.
And, you know, I just want to say, Wolf, the 3-1 prediction gets one step closer to being correct. Free, head in his hands, kind of the same way we saw him after game number 1. You got to know the pressure is on. One of the most legendary Protoss players ever to play the game, and finally, in 2017, he gets his shot at what has eluded him his entire career, a Grand Finals victory, but Effort here to stop it.
He said, you know, in his interview, he feels like this was likely to be his last chance, his final opportunity to win a tournament. He made it to the finals, he's made it this far. He's 2 wins away from having that, but we are going to go into game number 3 for Blue Storm, guys. It's Effort's map he was most worried about, but let's jump into it right here, right now, for the SSL Classic Finals.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Blue Storm, our orange Zerg player. It's Effort.
And of course, to the bottom left in brown is his opponent, Free. One mistake last game cost him big. But like, he's in his 30s, right? And this is something that for most Korean esports is unheard of. We have a few Overwatch players in their 30s. There have been you know, players that transition in their late 20s out of League of Legends. We have very few attempted StarCraft 2 pro gamers, like Nestea, for example, who was actually very dominant at the beginning of StarCraft 2. But in general, when a game reaches its peak in terms of competitive nature, in terms of how many players are playing at one time, it was not the 30-year-olds that were being put into Kespa houses to be trained to become one of the best players for Pro League, right? Free was one of those players once, and when he was at his peak in terms of age and in terms of skill, hand speed, things like that were so important back in that day, he couldn't make it happen. But now, in this new post-Kespa era, he's trained harder than ever before, he's made it further than he's ever had before, but he is getting older now, so for him, he has to consider, maybe this is my last turn, maybe this is the last chance I'm ever going to have in the years that are to come with Remaster being released. Maybe this is his best shot, his best opportunity, and he's just 2 wins away, but he looks so stressed about it. You can feel the pressure is definitely on Free's side more than on Effort's.
You really can, Wolf, and you really have to take that into consideration. It's not just about the game, but there are other factors at play. Really cool positioning there by Free on that probe, just to make it really annoying for that drone to be able to deal with it. We are going to see another Forge Fast expand here. It's not Nexus first, so it will be a little bit easier to hold, and that does bode well for Free after a little bit of a rough start in game 2.
This is absolutely true.
Oh no, it's the drone's worst enemy, time and slow acceleration.
Yep, well, just really well done. Now even gonna plant the pylon, so very annoying here. So Effort will have to look for potentially a third hatch location. So on 2-player maps like this, you can be very annoying with the probe early on. So this is exactly what happens. It forces Effort to take this third base first, which is really going to mess with his economy and the tempo of this ZVP.
Now, this was an overpool start for Effort, so he is able to get out Lings earlier than if he had gone for something greedy like a 12 hatch. However, I think if he had gone for that, then maybe he wouldn't have you know, gotten it blocked in the first place. Not all that impactful, just going to have delayed his third base a little bit more, but on Blue Storm, you can always come back and take that as, or take the natural as your third, and it doesn't really mess too many things up other than maybe a slightly more vulnerable second base.
Yep. Well, the Ling actually is going to get through here, which is pretty exceptional.
That should not actually happen. There's a very tight, narrow choke point on Blue Storm, so getting these late scouts when there are workers or units to block it, probably not something that Free would have expected.
Yeah, he does get the block off, it looks like, for the second Ling that was coming in. The Photon Cannon, of course, to make that a impossibility for Ling to get any further. But to have this Ling in here now is going to be so annoying. It's just going to constantly scout and harass, forcing reactions out of Free. He'll have to keep consistently tagging it with a probe and switching the probe, otherwise that probe will die. So this is a much easier situation for Effort, obviously, in terms of multitasking.
This is poetic justice, Wolf. Every time you have a probe that sits in your base for like 5 minutes and you can never ever kill it, well, now there's a Zergling doing exactly the same thing.
And that's expected, right? That's what that's just how the matchup works, where the probe will always get in the Zerg base, will always stick around. But with this is the opposite. This is what it should never happen. It forces such a larger reaction out of the Protoss.
And this is a lot committed to trying to take this Zergling out. You know, a lot of times you traditionally just expect to see Corsairs come out next in the PvZ matchup. So maybe Free was trying to try out something else. I know it's +1 Zealot speed leg timings. Well, I said that kind of wrong, but you get the idea. Those have been sort of Free's bread and butter. In fact, when he lost against Effort in the round robin stage, it was because that exact timing did not work out. Effort barely held it, and so we might actually be setting up for something similar to that. This Ling's still alive, so there's no surprises.
Yeah, he almost lost this probe immediately because he was multitasking at home. He will lose it now. At least he should.
Or will he?
He almost lost it a second ago because he was so busy multitasking against the Ling, which is, by the way, still alive. One Zealot will actually come out here. This is a shock to Effort because he expected the Zealot to come directly to deal with the Ling, but in fact he sent it across the map. Once again, it's going to go in between the mineral line just to make sure that he can get the maximum value out of it here.
I think if you position that Zealot a little bit farther forward, you only get hit by 1 Ling. So taking 2 Ling hits, that's going to make it a little bit easier to clear out. Probe also getting cleared out, but here's another Zealot rallied across the map and abusing this narrow choke point at the front of the natural on Blue Storm.
Yeah, I like how you described it earlier with how you deal with Zealots and Lings. It's kind of like a slingshot. It comes in and out, obviously going into harass and coming back to this choke point, almost like a yo-yo as well. And so that's the idea with the Zealot. Force the drones perhaps to be pulled, force the Lings over.
Oh,
but here's
Ling speed. Yeah, Ling speed, it completes, and so with it ends the watch of these Zealots. Now, a lot of Lings are taken out, but the Zealots way more valuable.
Really good control there by Free, actually turning that bad situation into a mediocre situation. So that was well done, actually. Trying to get into that choke point, but then microing really well, taking 1 more Ling down. First Corsair is out. He's actually continuing to rally Zealots across the map. Just wants to find pressure on Effort, try to get some extra scouting information. So this game is the most passive out of Effort so far, but the Ling is still in here. 1 kill.
That's insane. This is a testament to all of those use map settings, maps that players should definitely use in practice, keeping a worker alive while building their base. Very difficult to do, but finally, the Ling meets its match in a probe.
Yep. The gas probe, man. He was holding that vest beam, gave him a boost.
He just dumps it on him, melts him. It's like a mini irradiate.
So there's a lot of cannons being added here, as he very much is aware that this is likely to be the mass Hydra fall, but a huge swing of Lings will come in here. Second cannon does finish, but he can't block all the Lings from getting to the main. The majority, though, are stopped. But once again, one annoying Ling in the main base, but this should be cleared up fairly soon. Gets a probe, though.
That was really surprising by Effort to try to go for that, and you know, maybe narrowly it could have worked, but this is really the victory for Effort. If he's able to take out that Corsair, then he can really control the air, and at that point none of his Overlords will die. He can defend against these Zealots for a little bit longer, and the real thing that I'm going to be watching is what happens when Free amasses you know, a critical number of Zealots. That seems to be where he likes to go for a kill on Zerg players, but he's actually holding and pooling these Corsairs back at home, looking to come out with a big swell.
Yeah, well, this is obviously going to be the next step for Effort is going to be the big attack with Hydra. He's starting to mass them up right now. He added the macro hatch at his 3rd base, so this is something that Free obviously has somewhat of an idea about. He made a ton of photon cannons here to help stop the speedlings, but as you mentioned, he didn't add the extra gateways this time. He doesn't have the large Zealot count he had before. The Corsairs aren't going to be all that useful against Hydras once the Hydra count gets higher, so he's going to need to tech up further or look to take a 3rd base, as right now his Zealot count is quite small, and here come the gateways, but much later than before because of that pooled Corsair count you were talking about. He knows the attack is delayed, so he can afford to do this time, but we'll see what Effort wants to do. He may obviously have the he has the option to, instead of attacking with the Hydras, make lurkers and just take this into a longer game, but that's not really Effort's style in the matchup right now. And just in the matchup in general, we don't see that as often. We have a few times, even in the round robin stage of this tournament.
Now, this is going to be sort of our transition. We finished the early game, but what comes next is going to be Effort trying to put on pressure with Hydralisks, and Free trying to build up a big Zealot count that he can explode across the map with and make that work. He's also got the Templar Archives coming up behind this, so that even if the Speed Zealot versus Hydras don't work, ooh, getting his Corsairs caught out there, then High Templar Storm is going to be coming up after that.
So he has a lot of Corsairs here, actually. I think he's got 5 or 6, and they have +1. He's not able to find any Overlords, though, with them, because the Scourge kind of sussed this out early. He was able to figure out this is what's going on. So all the Overlords, I think with the exception of 1, were pulled back. Here's the Speed Zealots coming across the map that you were talking about.
+1 complete for them as well. So this will be a very difficult attack to stop, because you've got 2 things to think about. A big cloud of Corsairs and probably not enough Scourge to fully defend them.
Nope.
But okay, yeah, taking them out there in the sky. And here's what is really going to be important. There's 1 Dark Templar, and that can actually be the most powerful part of Free's army.
Absolutely. If he kills the 1 Overlord here, then these Hydras just simply cannot deal with it.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a lot to deal with all at once, with the Corsairs being pushed back by, or rather the Overlords being pushed back by these Corsairs. So the idea is to draw the Hydras back with the Corsairs, then attack with the speed, Zealot leg upgraded Zealots into the natural, for example. So that's the idea here. But Effort is actually dealing with this pretty well so far. But what he loses is map presence. The Hydras having to stick back.
DT had scouted this out. He could go there and take out the drone.
See ya.
And he will get... No! Oh my god, he turned around too fast because the Corsairs actually ran right over Hydras. 1 got lost. The other got...
The drone lives?
Wait, he just never went in there and killed it. Oh my god. So this could have been a big delay on this 4th base from coming up. Instead, it really just ends all of Free's presence on the map as Corsairs get taken out and pushed back, and the Dark Templar isn't able to delay the 4th. And look at this massive speed lot army.
Oh man, he's going to try to slow this down with some Lings to try to trap it so the Hydras can smash it here, sandwich it. Actually some control mistakes here by Effort, but does eventually grab control of this control group. Ling's actually baiting these Zealots back into a trap. Now they might actually get stuck here with the Hydras coming up. They're gonna, it's such a large Hydra count about to come over this ridge. Here they come.
God, now High Templar Storm is about to be completed. So all Free has to do is just hang on, wait for those Templar to juice up, and it looks like they are ready to go with Storms to defend against this Hydra push.
So this is a super high-tech army from Free, but he's been forced to use it defensively because his attempted attack never found damage. He wasn't able to stop the 4th base either, which is a really big concern. Now he's going to make a second attempt, this time with those Speed Zealots down to the bottom right, but this is going to be met by a large Hydra push. Now what Free can do during this moment when all the units are sent back to defend this hatchery is to look for a counterattack elsewhere. So here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is where he finds the damage.
All right, and this is just everything you should expect to see out of Free. His Speed Zealots, second to none. Now, to counter these in turn, Lurkers are on the way, but they are just not enough. You got a Morph and It's in the wrong position, but the Zealots still cannot filter through. Great Morph timing there, but here come the High Templar.
Okay, can he actually get those Lurker decks down? The cancel is real. Now the Zealots are running in. He finds this way in. Effort committed everything to defending the bottom right. Second Lurker Egg Morph here to block this choke point. Here come the Psy Storms. Can he get the rest of this army through? More Psy Storms! Oh my god! That was huge! That storm killed almost every single Hydralisk!
Okay, every headphone user out there is dead right now, but if you're still alive and watching, this is so sick. The storms, the prettiest, most beautiful storms I've ever seen, but look, it's a Lurker drop. It's taken out almost every probe at Free's Natural.
He responded pretty quickly, though. He pulled most of his probes. He's still finding a little bit more damage with these Zealots. He has a 3rd base coming up here. So
there we go, another Lurker drop coming in.
All is not lost for Free, but he needs to get an Observer over there. He needs to clear those Lurkers. Come the Corsairs, that's not going to do him much good. Cannon's coming up here already. Doesn't want to have fall victim to a second Lurker drop. We don't know if that Overlord has Lurkers in it to the bottom left, but I think it does. It's going down to the main base now.
And
here we go.
We're going to see another Lurker drop here. Actually, it's going to be a Hydra and a Lurker there, but a nice pull on the probe will keep all but one from falling.
Okay, so finally cleans this up. He lost a lot of mining. Ooh. And this is a pretty good trade for Effort in terms of what he lost to those storms earlier. He lost army, but he's still able to find damage even without that, despite that. Let's see, is this a storm drop? It is!
It is! Oh my god, not a reaction! Double storms and every drone going down!
Okay, this is huge now, but look at this to the bottom right, an Archon Zealot attack. The sunken colonies are not ready. The hatchery was damaged from earlier. Will he target it?
Finally, the Archon does go down, but these Zealots are so scary.
He's targeting.
+2 upgraded, and that hatchery, which was injured from before, will finally fall.
Down it goes. Effort's still looking for another Lurker drop. No photon cannons in position.
Oh my god, this is going to be so insane. Probes still not pulled off the line, so more will die here. Zealots pulled to try to deal with this, but there's no detect. detection.
No observer. Okay, now it comes over here. He needs to actually add some additional photon cannons to protect these bases, but the key is the third base still stands. As Lurker didn't do a ton of damage, did a decent amount, forced a pull, but the fourth base for Effort was destroyed. He's going to have to replace that now as his third base is up for free. He's got a large count of High Templar. He's made the transition to Dragoons. He has Dragoon range. He's ready, set up, as you mentioned, with the +2 attack. The quality of army right now, massively in favor of free. So Effort is going to need to mass up these Hydras and make a big assault on that third base.
Now free going for another High Templar Storm drop. I don't know why I call it High Templar Storm drop. You all know what Storm is, what it does. It's there. It's like, well, who's this?
He's not going to feed back with those High Templar.
He is not. There's not going to be any Red Archons in this game. Right as I say that, he's probably going to build one. But here we go. A big move forward.
It's all about the Storms. Where are they? Here's one. And that's enough to push back the second one.
Money Storm does take out the Overlord as well for good measure. Holding on to this third base very, very strongly. Effort won't be able to break in there.
Okay, that was actually really well done. The timing on that second Storm is so patient, so conservative with how he was using it there at the last second to secure the kill on all those Hydras. This is what I talk about in terms of quality of army. If you look at the size of the army of Effort, if you look at the minimap, it's like, oh man, he's just controlling everything. He's got this massive army, right? There's no way that Free's mediocre small army can destroy it. But when you see the Storms, that's when you know that the quality of the army is much better.
Well, look at those Corsairs. They're right there waiting, ready to stop this big Doom drop that Effort was setting up for.
Yeah, it seems like this is part of the strategy, part of the plan for Free. It was always to have this large Corsair count to deal with Lurker drops. He failed to deal with two major ones, which is actually a bit disappointing considering how many Corsairs he had on the map. But now they're in position. Now they're shutting this down. Loses a Corsair here, actually might have lost two there, but either way, at least they're in position to shut this down this time. He will not allow this to hit him once again.
Yeah, and even though it looks like Free's stopping that Doom drop from working, you got to think of the other side too. Effort doesn't have to deal with any Corsairs anywhere on the map, and that's a big force for the Protoss to really keep Effort on his toes, not losing any of these Free Overlords. Now, pushing forward, actually, Free's going to catch several Lurker eggs morphing and push back the majority of Effort's army.
Okay, here we go. He's forcing him back now. Effort does have a large second army he can try to sandwich with. Does not get the snipe on the Observer. That's very critical, but he has so many High Templar. He's always got more High Templar than there are Lurkers on the map here. Storm cutting off the retreat here. So much damage being done. Here comes a Lurker drop, though.
Needs to get them out of range of the cannons, or he actually could just go to kill that cannon with those Lurker spines. A few probes being pulled, a few being killed, trying to save that Lurker, but still some damage being done.
Okay, High Templar up here on the high ground, but they're not being used. The Hydra's getting a really nice trade here. A second nice trade on those Zealots. Free kind of mistakes here in multitasking, trying to deal with that Lurker drop at the same time. It's just so frustrating for Free right now. He committed to the +1 Corsairs. He had a large Corsair count, but still yet another Lurker drop finds his natural. Gonna lose a Dragoon here as well, but that was really nice trades in terms of army exchanges for Effort. He got several High Templar, reduced the Zealot counts quite significantly, and that's the beauty of Brood War. Multitasking is so important. All it takes is two Lurkers and a natural. They didn't get a massive probe kill, but it forced a lot of mistakes on the side of Effort in terms of army control.
Yeah, absolutely. So Effort not perfect here, but it does look like he is in a pretty good position. Free there to defend against these Hydras that are going to get through. But the big thing that this game is turning into is it draws longer and longer is the macro perspective. Who's got the resources where? Blue Storm, a map that oftentimes will get split in half. So it's all about which bases you can take and when, and right now Effort is just really in control of his entire side of the map, and he's starting to take control of Freeze.
Oh, look at these free splits on the Lurkers to avoid the Psy Storms. Here we go. He wants to hard engage this regardless. Zealots in the front. Looks like there's enough Lurker spines to push those back. Storms are great on the Hydras. Is this Zerg army good enough?
Oh, the Observer finally taken out, so there's no more Observer. The High Templar can still take out Lurkers without detection.
But the splits here for Effort make it so difficult, so cost inefficient for him to take this battle, to take this exchange.
Now, Free has also moved his Corsairs from defending against a Doom drop, so that's something we might see, but it actually looks like the table has turned, and it's being flipped over onto Free. Effort now being the one to come in here, picking up his units in those Overlords, and he's going to drop them all over Free's army.
Okay, the Observer is here now, but it feels like it's too late, Rapid. The Dragoons are getting crushed here now by the remainder of the Hydra. Storm's going down, but it's too little too late. The rest of the units streaming in, but this is a big win for Effort.
Yeah, there's not enough detection to take out those Lurkers and enough Zerglings to get right in on top of those Zealots. They're not upgraded
the
enough,
Observers,
and it's going to get taken out. Yeah, one Observer does fall. The second one gets taken out, and Free just might not have enough left.
Yeah, this might just be the beginning of the end for Free.
I think that's his army.
I mean, he lost all of his army. He's trying to take a fourth base now, but Effort even has Hive Tech coming up behind this, so
oh my God.
he's going to be able to have further upgrade these Hydras to +3. May even see some Defilers added in, but this base is scouted, and I don't think that Free has the resources to defend it. Lurker already in position here, no observers nearby, gets that one before the burrow, so nicely done, but more and more Hydras coming in. This Nexus will have to be canceled.
And this means no 4th base for Free. He was able to take a 3rd and defend it, but if he can't get this 4th base up, he just won't have enough resources to stop the swarm.
Decent Storm here coming out the first one, not so much, but as you said, the key is that even if he gets a good exchange in terms of army, Everett has the better economy, he has the larger army, and it's stopping Free from being able to mine this base means he can't produce those high tempo that he's so consistently losing. Also he's probably just pressing his O keys, holding it down on his robo right now because he keeps losing his observers.
And really that does take a lot of focus. If you guys ever play this matchup, you know that as the Protoss, keeping your observers alive, very difficult. Nice Lurker egg block to stop these Zealots from being able to path in. They'll be instantly taken out, and with that, another option for Free to come back in this game is shut down.
Yeah, it feels like painful it's salt on the wounds to see those Zealots get caught and the majority of them damaged, several killed. As those probes would love to be mining from a 4th base right now. It was canceled. It's not ready. That Nexus is remade now to the top left, but again, Everett could just go over and destroy it. I think what Free really needs, what he absolutely needs in this game, oh, he just types out, he gives up, GG!
Wow, the mentality broken.
That is a worrisome sign to see a GG that early in a game like this. It was going to be so difficult. What I was going to say was you need to have perfect storms, you need to have godlike miracle storms and win like 3 or 4 fights with perfect storms to come back, but he just wasn't even willing to try.
Wow, and look at the look on Free's face, shaking his head there, doing probably his best performance of the tournament so far when it comes to this Grand Finals matchup. I mean, Game 1 was really good, but it did look a little bit more even. Game 3, he had that money storm that we all yelled about and kind of killed all the headphone users, but I'm just saying, you know, Free was so on point, and for that not to be enough does not bode well.
I feel like the biggest frustration for Free must be in the fact that he committed to 5, 6 Corsairs, got the +1, and still consistently the Lurkers were dropped in his natural.
Yeah.
He didn't commit to Photon Cannons at his natural because he was like, I've got Corsairs, I should be fine. I'm shutting down these drops, the Doom drops, they shouldn't be a problem for me. I committed to the Corsairs, but every time they were. And at first it was a massive amount of probe kills. Then later on it was army movements, control mistakes, because he's like, oh, I gotta get an observer over there, I don't have a Photon Cannon, and he's doing all these things. Well, Effort is just, he just put the Lurkers there, he's not even watching. He's at the top of the map, sniping High Templar, sniping Dragoons, getting good exchanges with good angles on his Hydras, while Free was just kind of scrambling to defend at home. So really well played by Effort in terms of those Lurker drops. And I feel like you have to say he got a little bit lucky. Had Free's Corsairs consistently been in position, I don't think that tactic would have been as successful.
I think this tactic is pretty successful, Wolf.
Could be the 3-1 you were predicting. I mean, it starts to feel that way. Free gives up. He gives up, actually, in that game, doesn't actually play it out to the end.
Well, speaking of giving up, we actually just got notified that Free has actually requested a couple of minutes to take a little bit of a break to, you know, kind of regain his mental, I guess you would say. Definitely looked a little bit tilted after that final game. You could see a delayed GG timing and then kind of spontaneous out of nowhere. There's a lot going on in that Protoss Dragons head right now, so you really have to... I'm glad he actually called for that extra time. As a player, you really need to know when you are ready to you know, continue on with your what could be the final game of the tournament.
Yeah, it definitely could be. This could be it. This could be his entire opportunity here in this grand finals just lost in an instant. And you have to give him credit. The build he chose, the commitment to the Corsairs in that last game was really intelligent. It just the execution was off. His intelligence to try to cannon rush as well kind of got a little bit unlucky. So he made that one mistake with his Zealots in game 2, and this is not the finals Free prepared for. Everything he's done in terms of builds has been really intelligent. However, in terms of execution, Effort has been here. This is his 3rd big major finals, right? And so he has the experience. But guys, we're going to go into the game. Game number 4 on Neo Medusa right now.
Took us 4 games, Wolf. We finally got our crowd cheers coordinated. It's going to set us up pretty well for the latter half of the tournament. This is our Blue Zerg player effort. And of course, his green Protoss opponent free. Love how we're switching up the colors. I don't think we've ever seen quite this pairing, but it's going to be cool for our fourth game of the series coming up on Neo Medusa.
Well, at least Free's got the jade color to match the map going into this one.
So every map he plays on this, he gets 1/1 stronger.
Yeah.
There we go.
So he's brought that jade from game number 1, man. That was his map as we move into Medusa. So this is going to be stressful for Free. You could tell the mentality of a player when you see a player with head and hands after a victory. And then after a second game that was very unfortunately lost, he looked even more upset than going into game number 3. Again, you could tell he played the build he had prepared for the map. He had the +1 Corsairs, but everything went wrong in terms of army control. He had a few great storms, but just couldn't multitask as well as effort. And the mentality to see the GG early like that, now going into this 4th game where his entire tournament life is on the line, it feels bad to see this player so frustrated. But if he can bounce back here, you know, he's a Woomjin Stars ex-pro gamer. He's played countless pro league games. He's played so many individual leagues. It's not like he's a stranger to high pressure situations, but this is the highest pressure he's ever been under.
Yeah, absolutely. They were talking on stage. 12 years Free has been playing here. He is over 30. His storied career. One of the best Protoss players ever to play the game. If you guys are familiar with the idea of Protoss Dragons, they're the 6 best Protoss players to ever play the game, and Free was one of them. In fact, I believe the I think the lowest placing of them. But the big thing that you want to know about Free or remember is his contribution to PVZ. He's one of the best players in that matchup ever to play the game, and he's going to have to pull on every part of that to come back in the series down 2-1.
Yeah, so much mentality in terms of momentum favors effort now, because you know, in a grand finals, you know, if you win the first game, you're statistically like 72% of the time when you win the grand finals. And there's actually been a lot of studies done on this in Korea because of the mentality angle, where we've seen players get upset sometimes even with one-sided finals where the favorite loses the first map. And we were looking towards that in this series when Free took game number 1. The all-in failed, the control on the Hydras wasn't there, the Zealots broke through, and going into games 2 and 3, though, it feels like the momentum has completely swung. He had that huge edge going to game number 1. Had the unlucky circumstance in 2, then 3 won the long game, or sorry, lost the long game where he had the right strategy, had the answer for the lurker drops, but couldn't execute.
All right, now this is Neo Medusa. I get this confused sometimes with other 3-player maps, but the cool feature on this one is the ability to get units where you shouldn't be able to, thanks to the stacked Protoss temples that are at the ramp, leading to a backdoor entrance to your main. So you always want to watch out for them. Some players will go ahead and mine those minerals out, so it's more difficult to glitch through them. Some players want to build splash damage units to take out those temples early. So it's a mechanic we'll have to use. We'll have to see it, how it's used. It's not made use of every game, so it's something cool to watch.
It's definitely most used in this matchup, obviously by Zerg to kill because Zerg can use lurkers to have the splash damage to break through the buildings, to then backdoor, so to speak, the Protoss. We've seen it a lot. We've seen it in this tournament twice actually already. So something that effort will absolutely consider would be a nice way. Lurkers definitely helped him win game number 3. So see if in game number 4 he just wants to use them again to try to close this one out.
Yeah, for Protoss you can use them to glitch a probe through and get a late scout, see exactly what's coming your way, and it's a Hydra Den on the way for effort.
That it is, so we'll see if he wants to commit to the lurker tech early. Obviously, we're going to get a good sense of that in just a moment as to how many Hydras he makes.
Yeah, it should be noted that as far as which bases you take, there is a rear mineral only that you can take as your 3rd base, which is very close to your main and your natural. However, it doesn't have a gas, and gas is really the key resource for Zerg players. I think they almost use more of that than minerals. So getting that 3rd base, it's a little bit more difficult to defend, but it will have that extra resource.
Yeah, that's actually very important. It's not always talked about as in StarCraft 2, right?
You get a gas. You get a gas. Some of our bases have 3 gases now. So
exactly. It's definitely more gas. Gas friendly in StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1. Only certain bases have gas, so you have to memorize those and know how to utilize the map. So Speed finishes here. He's actually committed to a lot of lings yet again. Let's see if Free can hold that wall tight. He needs to. The probe's here. close call, but he has the second photon cannon as well coming up. And actually a pretty heavy commitment to get that second photon cannon here.
All right, I did see one of those drones not mining down there. Should be getting that one up and running. As the third base kicks into high gear, really what is the strat here for Free? He's shown a propensity for those +1 speed zealots, but is this the map to do it on?
I mean, that's the big question, right? Obviously, the rush distance here is quite large in terms of going across the map and harassing. He wants to use this first Corsair to really assess the situation. Sees a bunch of Hydras coming out. He knows, okay, it's not a lurker rush, try to knock down my wall. Adds a third photon cannon. And now we're probably going to have to see him add those gateways. And if he was planning on going for the +1 for Corsair, totally skip that here and go into the more likely Zealots. He is actually researching the +1. And it is going to be a lurker. So he shows the Hydras, then hides them.
Okay, that one Hydralisk, I think he, I'm not sure if he deliberately tried to glitch that one through, but now that it's on the high ground, he'll be able to morph that in a position that Free won't expect.
Yeah. Well, this is actually really cool. So I think he kind of mind gamed Free a little bit here. Free should start to realize what's happening, of course, and add a photon cannon in the main base because he saw the Hydras earlier and he thought, okay, this is a Hydra bus. He added a ton of cannons at the front. He's totally mind game here. Okay, he realizes. Awesome. He adds the cannons. So important. So important. And now he's actually in good position to defend almost anything. Scouts it with the probe, too.
Oh, my God. But he's got to defend here up at the front as Effort's going to try to break this. 3 lurkers burrowed. Nothing really to take them out. Tons and tons of Zerglings. But are the probes there at the front going to be enough to defend?
Well, they were at least to stop the Lings from coming in initially here.
They do block those lurkers, but so many going down. He's going to run by with both lurkers.
Cannon's not ready.
There's no detection.
Oh,
the
that
6 spine hits. Nothing there to detect except for that cannon. It's going to be taken out almost immediately, and run, lurker, run, all the way back into the main.
Okay, finally cleans that up when the cannon finishes, but so many probes were killed.
Quick, overcharge the pylon. Not a thing.
The cannon's in range, of course, but this lurker is on high ground. The probe's going to try to add some extra DPS here. This is so unfortunate, so annoying to deal with, and another attack is getting set up here. Actually, it was just Lings, never mind.
Okay, yeah, those guys got a little bit glitched out there, but with more Zerglings here to pressure the front, this has been a very effective attack, very well-executed strategy for Effort.
Effort now has the massive economy advantage, and will have that for quite some time. Look at this main base. It's barely mining 3 probes. Here comes the attack into the main. There's just no units here. His economy was so affected, and now as the cannons go down, it feels like so will Free. Defending with probes here, it looks like we'll finally clean this up.
How good are probes, Wolf? Oh my God, all right.
But so much damage done, so many lost probes, so many probes not mining right now. He's not even able to put these probes to a base to mine in the main. He has a Robo Bay here, but for what? He can't afford Reavers.
I love the way you said it. It's like, no, there will be no Reavers. No Reavers for old men here as Free now really starting to struggle. Observers are out now, so this will allow him to clean up all of the damage done. That is damage done, Wolf, and so Effort is just going to come back with an even harder hit.
Yeah, well, if he's getting that Robo Bay for Reavers, I mean, he's going to need one right now. This is just a lot of pressure coming on here for Effort with the Hydras with range just poking at this gateway. One Corsair is going to be shut down as well, and it looks like Effort is not going to take the all-in finishing steamroll approach to this. He just wants to chip away at Free right now, and that's what he's doing with these Hydras here. He's just going to maintain his lead, drone up a little bit at home, and Free is literally on his last legs right now. Man. He wanted that trophy kiss. He talked about it. That's the one thing he wants more than anything else. He's never had that in his career. He's never been able to hoist the trophy, kiss the trophy, and he may never have that chance. The Reaver's out.
Awesome. Okay, Scarab will take out 2 Hydras, so this is a very key moment for Free. He's able to stabilize. He does have this Corsair out. He's scouting everything. And every time you see a Zerg go for any of these aggressive busts or strats, you have to realize what a cost that is. There's going to be less drones, and even Effort not going back to his bases to get his drones mining immediately. He might actually have taken a pretty big economic hit. He's going to try to get that 4th base up and sort of get back in the economic game. But with Free holding right here, we'll have to see how well he stabilizes.
The cool thing is that Corsair got 3 Overlords as well, right. So there's these additional factors. He now has this Reaver tech, so he stabilizes, but what he's lost with the tech to Reavers, also the probes, the lost mining time, what he's lost is he didn't have gateways. He has no map presence besides these Corsairs right now. There's no Zealots running around harassing. There's nothing. It's just the Corsair that's looking for a little bit of harass damage right now. This allows Effort to catch up in economy, like you were talking about, put him at an economic deficit in terms of drones because he was making all those Hydras, the lurkers earlier, but he's now able to drone up freely because there's no pressure, just the Corsairs.
All right, so droning freely versus being freely. I think that Free, if you look at his face, is sort of regained composure as well, something we've been talking a lot about. Now, Free is also getting +1 for his Corsairs, and that might actually work out pretty well, given that now there's a Spire on the way for effort.
Yeah, and the Spire obviously is going to help deal with these Corsairs and also the Reaver drops. It's a bit late, though. So here comes those Reavers in the dropship here. It's got speed now, the shuttle. So here we go. Let's see what he can find.
Could get a lot of damage done here. Double Reavers in the shuttle. One Scarab out. Will it take out these probes?
No. Does not get the detonation he looked for. Oh, wastes the Scarab there on the spawning pool as well.
Oh my
some
god.
Hydra kills.
Look at that control. So good. The God of Battle, or Battle God. That was Free's nickname. So good at this in combat control and able to use these double Reavers to massive success.
Drawing the Hydras away now, finding more damage with these Corsairs. So the comeback is mounted here for Free a little bit. Finding a lot of damage, even damaging these structures. Looks to even take out this macro hatchery as the Hydras are forced away.
Now this
but
is
will
greedy.
he react? Will he react?
So greedy. He's not going to react in time. Several good Scarab shots, but these Reavers will fall.
Okay, but he got a lot of Hydras with them too. But it's obviously more significant that the Scarabs die, or rather the Reavers die, but he got a lot of the Hydras, so that is still a cost-efficient trade in terms of what he could have done with a late pull there. The Corsairs got several more Overlord kills,
right,
and Free is now stabilized. I feel like before, when we saw the Reavers come out, and we saw this, oh no, I didn't see this, okay, 2 kills, but key is, when he had the Reavers coming out across the map, it felt desperate. It was like, will he be able to find the damage? He did.
Oh no! He's losing every single Corsair!
Oh, he
Free,
cannot be doing
not
this!
like this, no! Every Corsair falls, and Free, having just barely gotten himself back into this game, has to take another sigh as he loses every air unit.
He shakes his head. The +1's done for the Hydras now, and they're moving across the map because there's no more pressure. It's going to be about the Reaver shots here. The Scarab hits are everything now. Tournament life on the line. He wants that trophy kiss. Can he make it happen? Observer scouts. These Hydras are going to the high ground. Needs to send the Reavers over now to deal with this. They're coming over slow. He's got that shuttle, actually. He's got a few DTs here, actually. That's going to be the key.
There's
Smart move.
There's no Overlords here with this Hydra army. And yeah, there's just no Overlords. So these Dark Templar could kill every single Hydra list.
That's right. And he might even be able to... Oh, but the Muta Switch is there. But he might actually be able to kill all of these without even losing a Reaver. Oh, loses the one Reaver, but still.
Yeah, but these DTs will kill every single Hydra if they can catch them.
But the Muta Switch, since he killed all the Corsairs, he's very aware of this. And it's scouted now, but he just doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough. Not even close.
He doesn't even care about that Corsair. Okay, yes, he does. He's going to turn around and take it out.
Doesn't even need to. No, I mean, you were right. He's got so many Mutas here.
There's nothing to
huge
juice
eco
up.
advantage. There's a few cannons here. The second one's not ready yet, though. This may just be it. There's no way. He doesn't have anything to defend. High Templar slow here. Even with perfect storms, though. This base is not mining.
Oh,
and he doesn't have storm ready.
No, he doesn't. It's not up in time. Those High Templar die. So with it, Freeze hopes.
He's going to try to use these DTs to find something, anything, but the Overlords back at home have been remade. Just looking for more High Templar with this. Okay, no Overlord nearby, actually, as it turns out. This is crazy.
You can actually snipe a lot of key tech there, but these cannons going down will make it almost impossible to move. This Reaver is actually going to get taken out too, but look at these DTs doing work.
Doing some serious work indeed. Cannon's actually finishing, is just massing them up to try to survive here. He doesn't even have a single Dragoon. The Corsairs are being made slowly. So DT's finding a lot of damage. He's actually not even making Corsairs.
I don't know, Wolf. This is a lot of damage for DTs. Finally, effort forced to respect it and come back. His Freeze mineral lines are in shambles as well here. So really, who got more damage done? I think it's effort.
It definitely is. I mean, you never even want to see Dragoons at this stage in the game. He's just forced to make them here. DT's going to try to trade out a few more drones here. They will, but yeah, when the dust settles, who got more done? Absolutely effort. And there's just no money. There's no mining. You can't even afford Corsairs. The probes are going down here.
Oh, this will be almost too much damage. I love how I qualified that out of existence there. But yeah, the probes not able to mine almost anywhere. This isn't going to be game-ending necessarily, but Free's just so far behind.
I mean, he GG'd early before. I feel like he could have. I mean, in this game, he's really trying to hang on with all these unique defenses. The Reaver into the DT harass got more damage done with the Reaver than I could have expected. The DTs as well. 10 kills on this one we have shown on screen, but still. He is not mining from his main base. He's one base now to soon to be 4 as Effort remakes that base down to the 6 o'clock. And there's just no way he can compete with the economy of Effort. Effort's even now brave enough to tackle these probes in the natural. Storms go down, killing a few probes even, but all he has to do is dodge those with these mutas. The muta micro here is good, and he gets away with even more probe kills.
Now, you know, mutas don't regen health very quickly, so once they do get dropped down to 1 or 2 HP, they're kind of useless. So I think Free has once again barely managed to hang on, but his probe count is in the dumpster. But these DTs will not continue to be as successful, and so now Free really has to, you know, finally face the music. He's only got 2 bases against a Zerg that is now building his 4th and getting that up and running. These cannons will not be good.
He could barely afford it. You can tell he's like, okay, I got 150. I'm gonna put this cannon down. It's like, nope, too late. Probe's going down. He gets the cancel. His Corsair is going to go down.
No Corsair. This is not your time. He's not going to be able to make that one up, and even though there are a couple of low-health mutas, Free not actually focusing them down. Dragoons versus mutas is such a big mismatch. You have the most mobile unit.
Good split, pre-split against the Storm here by Effort.
Wow.
Takes out the Templar, looks to finish off this Corsair, and finish off this game with the Mutaflock alone.
The little Dragoon that couldn't. That guy is not going anywhere. Now, Storm is done, and there are a lot of high Templars, so that's a pretty scary force, but like you noted earlier, Wolf, pre-splitting these mutas, okay, now he's bringing them back together, but we'll have to watch out for that micro to avoid the Storm.
Here's the real factor, right? We talk about this economic damage, economic damage, economic damage. What does it mean? It means that Effort can make an entire army, a massive army of Hydras, Lurkers to come across the map to finish the game. This was just harassment. He wasn't trying to end the game attacking Photon Cans and Mulus. It was to give him an economic lead, to make this mass Hydra attack, to end the game, and to get his 3rd title.
Oh, he's going to side the shuttle that had High Templar in it. He does drop one out, but it's picked off immediately. No Storms here to stop these Hydras, and there's way too much at Free's front.
They've got +2, and this could be Effort winning a 3rd major esports title here, a 3rd Star League here at the SSL Classic, pushing his way through. Psystorm's really good, but he needs a 2nd one, and he just doesn't have it, Rapid.
The natural expansion will fall, Wolf, and even though these last few Storms do come down, these Hydralisks brought their umbrellas, and they will be able to push all the way through. It's a probe genocide at the natural expansion. Free still in the game, but not for much longer.
Devastated, hands off the keyboard. This was his moment, this was his night, but he couldn't make it happen when it mattered most. Good builds, poorer execution than Effort. Effort is going to end this one. He slumps in the chair, shakes his head. He knows this one is beyond over now, as it looks like the Hydras look to eliminate him from the game, quite literally, as they kill the last buildings. DTs come out desperately, but that is going to be it. High Templar comes out to die. And the only question now is, when will he type out? It is now GG!
Free has left the game. Effort is your SSL Classic champion. And a champion before, a champion now. What a pedigree and what a performance from the strongest Zerg player around in this tournament.
An OSL champion, the Bad Star League champion, and now the SSL Classic 2017 Season 1 champion. It is Effort, considered by everyone to be the best Zerg player in Brood War. He's a BlizzCon champion as well, and now he's got this, another title, a large amount of prize money on top of it all, and he walks on stage victorious. It was a rocky start for the younger Zerg player here in Effort. He lost the first game, but followed it up with consistency, games 2 and 3, catching up, and then in game 3 just outclassing Free completely there with the Lurkers.
And there he is, Effort Kim Jung-woo on stage again in 2017 with his 2nd recent Brood War victory. He was able to win the Vant Star League, which in many ways really signaled the revival of modern day Brood War, and now he has done it again, taking out Free with, what's the score, Wolf?
3-1.
That is in fact right. Just got to point that out. An incredible grand finals. Could not have asked for better games. Free showed a lot of signs of life, but in the end, Effort was just too good.
So it's Effort now who has the trophy on stage. It was what Free was looking for tonight, was that elusive trophy kiss. We'll not have it, not tonight, perhaps not ever. So we're going to interview Effort here. So first off, how do you feel? You're the champion.
이렇게 항공사에서 일 때마다 우승을 하고 보니까 다음 시즌도 항공사에서
it feels like the first time all over again. It was 7 years ago when he won the Korean Air OSL. Now he's won the Jin Air here, SSL Classic for Season 1. So again, it feels like a certain level of significance to me to win on the stage with airplanes.
본인이 막 고개를 절레절레 젓는 걸 제가
Because it feels like that time.
아 사실 제가 제이드란 맵을
So, what was it like when you lost game 1? What was your mentality like?
하나 있어요. 그 7시 자리가 걸리면은 자원을 못 캐요. 근데 항상 제가 할 때마다 7시 자리 걸려가지고.
There's a reason why I don't like that map.
수박은 좀 안 풀린다고 생각했는데. 그래도 2세트부터는
If you're unlucky and you get the 7 o'clock expansion, it's tough to mine from bases, so he felt he had to take that risky hidden hatchery. So he felt like the spawning locations were really tough for him there on Neo Jade.
역시 즉흥적인 수로
And the attack failed.
했었다는 게 오늘의 우승의 비결이었던 것 같다. 블루스톰은 어땠습니까? 사실
So he said he was obviously most stressed out about Blue Storm,
네, 맞아요. 사실 블루
and they're asking him about Blue Storm now.
제가 준비했던 전략은 이제 러커 드랍이었는데 성공시키긴
So
했지만
he actually planned on lurker dropping for Blue Storm.
그것 또한 이제 용태 형이 정찰을 워낙 잘하는 바람에
He didn't want to go Spire Tech.
말려 있었어요.
그렇죠. 그리고 또 그런 생각이 혹시 있었나요? 윤용태 선수 같은 경우 조금
So Free actually did well to prevent me from having success with the lurker drops. Of course, referencing the +1 Corsair count that he had.
그게 이제 그걸 생각할 겨를은 없었고 그냥 몸이 기획했던 것 같아요. 이제 승리했을 때 어떻게 하면 이제 승리를 했었었는지 이제 그걸 이제 기억하고 즉흥적으로 좀
So
한 것 같아요.
by the third and fourth set, he just kind of was flexing. He was playing on the fly. He said he was kind of playing outside of his body, so to speak.
멘탈이 좀 무너졌구나라는
He just thought of everything on the fly. He was very much freestyling and was able to just kind of take things as they came when he had that momentum in his favor.
Astral projecting his way to victory.
기회했던 것 같아요. 그래서 용태 형도 이제 심상치 않게 이제 당황했던 것 같고 또 이제
So
제 추가 멀티를 몰랐던
Free was insanely emotional, and what do you have to say towards Free's reaction towards the loss?
오늘 경기 김정 선수가 우승을
I could feel it. I could feel it in his play. He was going for these really hard counterattacks. Even though I was destroying him, he was trying so hard, especially in that last game, to find his way back in. And so he definitely feels for Free, and he could even tell without looking at his face in the booth how emotional he was just by seeing the way he was playing.
안 하셔가지고 용태 형이 그때 이제 딱 이겼다고 생각했어요.
So
메탈리스크.
until I killed all the Corsairs, I actually thought I was losing the game. I thought I was so behind, and that was the light at the end of the tunnel, was to catch those Corsairs and kill them there to the bottom left. Huge control mistake by Free, which cost him the game, and really the end of the finals.
정말 추억 속에 고이고이 간직될 거다라는 말을 했었는데 이제 그 주인공이 되셨잖아요.
It's very significant because you were actually the first SSL Classic champion. So how does it feel to have such this honor bestowed upon your name?
남고 이제 언급이 되다 보니까 이제 또 우승을 진짜로 하고 싶었는데 이렇게 하게 돼서 너무.
He said it's so significant because the first champion is the one that's always remembered, and that's so true. Compared to you name an esport, a fan will be able to tell you who won the first tournament in that esport.
저기 뭐 취업풀 보니까 정우야 지면은 국토대장정 가자라는 취업풀이 굉장히 압박감을 주는 취업풀인 것 같은데.
He's very happy that the fans came and filled the arena because that's what gave him the energy. That's what gave him, the strength to finish to win this final. So he thanks the fans for that.
일단 뭐 항공사에서 이렇게 해줄 때마다 좋은 성적을 거두고 있는데 시즌도.
It's going to be Gen Era, of course, for Season 2 as well. Any words for Season 2?
이제 이렇게 적극적인 지지해 주셔서 너무 감사드리고요. 다음 시즌에는
He said, on the wings of Gen Era, he will definitely secure the second championship. He wants to be 2 times a champion. And he said, so I've heard there will be some new players and better players coming in to the next season as well. So he's very excited about that, and he hopes that the fans continue to support the Gen Era SSL Classic.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our champion interview with Effort. Now, we will be having a ceremony to present everything to him at the end of today's broadcast. But coming up next, we've got the SSL Premier Grand Finals, which you guys should also be looking forward to. So if you came here for Brood War or you came early for those finals, make sure to stick around and check out what is going to be an absolutely incredible series. But just to really kind of put the icing on the top of or the cherry on the top of the icing, which was on the top of the cake of this wonderful series, I just want to rub in this a little bit more, as it was a very very dominant win.
Good prediction.
I just got to say, like, for Free to win game number 1, I thought he would have come back later on in the series,
sure.
but you really saw the contrast in mindsets. Free winning game 1 and Effort having to come back from that mentality, and once he did, you could really hear in his interview saying that he was kind of flexing a little bit on Free after you knew he had dominated.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And again, as I said, you know, the winning the first game in the finals always statistically gives you an advantage to win the finals. And there's all that mentality that goes into that as well. So a huge upset for him to take the first game. And we thought maybe after that game, it could have been a much closer finals than it ended up being at the end. So kudos to Free for having that close first game that he won, then having better games throughout the series, especially game 3, but still, he just wasn't good enough on the day where it mattered most. Hopefully he'll join us again for Season 2. But that's it. But guys, we're going to take about a 20-minute commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have our StarCraft 2 finals, Solar versus Innovation. See you then.